Did you guys like that? Was that impressive for you guys? Welcome back to Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter. It's episode 81. It's brought to you by Roman. And we've been getting a lot of comments that our stats matter too much. So we did a 180, and we're talking about something completely arbitrary today. It's not about playoff baseball. It's not about rule changes. It's about inside the park home runs, because that's what the people are asking for. Everyone's talking about these moonshots and these playoff home runs.
3-2 to Rizzo. Swung on, hit high in the air to right. That ball is...
What about the inside the parkers? They might not be aesthetically impressive, but they count the same. There have been 289 inside the park home runs since the year 2000. That's a pretty good batting average, 289. You take that. 32 of those have been inside the park grand slams, where everybody's running around the bases at the same time. Love those. In this year alone, 2022, there were 12 inside the park home runs, and the most to be hit in one game ever is 3. I would have liked to be at that game. That's a pretty fun one. Which season had the most inside the park home runs since 2000, though? Well, in 2017, a big year for a lot of fans, there were 20 inside the park home runs. 2013, though, not a year we remember a lot, guys. There was only 6 inside the parkers, so kind of what's the point? We should just cancel the season. In 2020, though, kind of an interesting fact here, there were 8 hit, which is a decent number, even though there was only 60 games played. If we got the full slate, we might have seen like 20 and 25 inside the parkers, which is kind of cool. 2020, everything was kind of upside down, so I get why. Who holds the career record, though, for the most inside the parkers? Who's the inside the park king? Well, since the year 2000, that belongs to Kevin Kiermaier, and it kind of makes sense. The guy is fast, Tropicana is kind of a weird field, the ball bounces around, he can fly, but all time you're going to have to go back to those 80s Royals and Willie Wilson, the Royals legend, speedster, former world champ. He has 12 inside the park homers to his name. But what about teams? We keep talking about players. What about teams? The team with the most inside the parkers in the last 15 years happens to have 15, and it's once again those Tampa Bay Rays. If you want to go hit an inside the parker, maybe just go to the Trop. Things kind of are a little kooky down there, so it makes sense. The least, though, the Oakland A's, they have not hit an inside the park home run in the last 15 years, which is kind of weird because the Coliseum's like kind of big and cavernous, and you'd think that at least one with all those huge foul lines and stuff like that. But no, the Oakland A's are without an inside the park home run in the last 15 years. The reason we said since 2008 is because it's the StatCast era. You guys know about StatCast by now. And since that era began in 2008, the most inside the park home runs have been hit at Kauffman Stadium and Coors Field. You'd think that the Coors Field balls would fly out of the stadium, but a lot of them have been kept in while the players ran around the bases. 13 have been hit at each of those stadiums. Pretty shocking stuff. But also since 2008, the last 15 years, Wrigley Field and Rogers Center only have 1 inside the park home run each. It's been kind of a drought, and the Coliseum has had an especially long drought. Their last inside the parker in Oakland was courtesy of a young rookie on the Rangers who many might not think of as a speedster because his name was Nelson Cruz. Yes, Nelson Cruz has an inside the park home run. If he has one, you can get one too. You just got to believe in yourself. It was his 3rd career home run, and it came in September of 2006 when he was just a baby, just a wee baby. Since 2008, among pitchers, Mike Fiers, a guy with multiple no-hitters, has given up the most inside the park home runs. He's allowed 3 to his name. He's clearly doing something wrong. Got to throw better pitches so that doesn't happen to you, man. You can't be surrendering the home run ball like that, especially the inside the park home run ball. Since 2008, there have been 4 inside the parkers that have happened in extra innings, so especially clutch inside the parkers, and 6 have been hit by the short, stout guys behind the plate. 6 have been hit by catchers, which I love. None have ever been hit by pitchers in the last 15 years. That's probably not going to change because pitchers don't really hit anymore. So that's a shame. We'll never see that record get broken. The hardest inside the park home run ever hit in the StatCast era belongs to Seiya Suzuki. This year, he did it at Miller Park, although it's not called Miller Park anymore, so we're going to have to scratch that from the video. The hardest inside the park home run ever hit in the StatCast era belongs to Seiya Suzuki. This year, he did it at
American Family Field.
He hit that at 109 miles per hour. It was a line drive shot. The most gentle one ever came from my guy, Ruben Tejada, in a magical 2015 year. He hit one at 74.5 miles per hour, and that went for an inside the parker. Not really fleet of foot either, so good for Ruben. He really got around the bases quick there. Since 2008, only 2 inside the parkers have ever been hit in the playoffs. A lot of people remember the one that kicked off the 2015 World Series. Alcides Escobar against Matt Harvey led off the game on the first pitch, kind of kicked off Cespedes' glove. I hated to see that. A lot of people really got a kick out of it, so good for those people, I guess. And Rafael Devers, not really a fleet-of-foot guy, but in the 2017 ALDS against Ken Giles, he hit one against the Astros for an inside-the-park home run. The only ever walk-off inside-the-park grand slam, a legendary feat. It belongs to a legend himself, Roberto Clemente. He hit the first and only walk-off inside-the-park grand slam in MLB history off the Cubs' Jim Brosnan in 1956 at Forbes Field. Maybe next year will be the year that we finally get an inside-the-park walk-off grand slam. That's the thing that kids really dream of these days. It's not really getting the strikeout in Game 7. It's getting the walk-off inside-the-park grand slam. We should all know that by now. Most of these inside-the-parkers were hit by speedy players, but not always. Sometimes it's a guy like Prince Fielder who's hit 2 of them in his career. And the reason he was ready for that moment and ready to sprint around the bases is probably because he was taking care of his health with Roman, the sponsor for today's episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter. No matter what you're wearing, confidence starts on the inside, even if you're wearing that extra large Brewers uniform like Prince Fielder was. That's why it's so important for men to think about their testosterone health early. That's because testosterone is believed to affect everything from our libido to our blood health to our speed running around the bases. But thankfully, Roman's testosterone support supplements were designed by real doctors to make sure your body knows it's maintaining its greatness. Feel confident from the inside out with Roman. It affects our fitness, it affects our health, our sex drive, our muscle, our bone mass, and of course, most importantly, our ability to sprint around the bases really, really quickly so that the outfielder can't get the ball and throw it in and we can get a cheap home run. Testosterone is an important part of man's body and health, so it's important to start supporting it early. And you can get started now if you go to GetRoman.com/stats today. And if you're approved, you'll get $15 off your first order of Roman T support. So GetRoman.com/stats. Go get yourself some support and then get ready to hit one into the gap and sprint around the bases as fast as you can. Doesn't matter your size, even you can hit an inside the park home run. And that's it for our episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter today. We will see you guys next week.